So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. Today we will be discussing Indian Express of 10th of September, that is today. Now we will be discussing first the practice question and then we will be moving forward with the next sections, that is fact of the day and then know our constitution. After that we will be discussing the important article from the day. We will be focusing on the GST Council's meeting. We will try to know that what kind of outcomes were, or you can say what kind of future scores has been discussed in this meeting. Okay. Then we will be moving further with the who was Sakthan Thampuran. Okay, so basically when we are talking about this particular personality, okay, so we'll be talking that when he became a ruler and then he has actually gone for, or you can say he is considered as the architect of the modern Thrissur. Okay, so this is a place in South India. So basically Sakthan Thampuran, we will be talking about him and then we will be moving further with the China-Russia joint exercise. Okay, so when we are talking about this China-Russia joint exercise, we will be seeing then when it will happen, where it will happen and what is the significance of this these two countries coming together in a particular area. Okay, so that is there. Moving further, for your own read, there will be one article and in the end there will be a practice question. Okay, so let's start with the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. Which of the following countries is not a member of SAARC? Okay, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka and Myanmar. If you look at this particular picture over here, you will be finding out that these are the countries which are there in SAARC. That is, when we are talking about SAARC, SAARC is basically South Asian Association of for the regional cooperation. Okay, so basically they are talking about the South Asia and not the Southeast Asia. When we talk about the countries beyond that, these are part of Southeast Asia. So Myanmar is part of Southeast Asia. Okay, so option D would be a right answer. This is not in SAARC. Okay, so Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, these are the countries which are there. Here Nepal we have, Bangladesh we have Sri Lanka as well. Other than that, if you look at this particular picture, you will be finding out there are 8 countries which are there in SAARC: Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Maldives. Okay, so these are the countries which you should remember. Now moving further and looking at the fact of the day. Ancient civilizations such as Egypt along the Nile, Mesopotamia between Tigris and Euphrates, Indus Valley near the Indus River and China along the Yellow River all flourished around major rivers due to their fertile lands and water resources. Now if you look at the history, if you look at the progression of civilizations, you will find out that most of the civilization has started along the riverbed and then they have actually river banks and then they have moved further. Now when we are talking about India, if we take the case of India, you know that we have Indus Valley civilization, Sindhu Ghati Sabhyata, which is called in Hindi. When we are talking about this Sindhu, you know that there is this Indus river or Sindhu river which is there. Okay, so along that we started this civilization, that is Harappan, or you can say Indus Valley civilization, and then you will be seeing that there is a progression of civilization from west to east. Okay, so that was there. When we talk about Egypt, okay, you know that Nile is the most prominent river in the Egypt. So we know that there is this you can say a civilization which was there, that is Egyptian, and then Mesopotamia, that is also between the two rivers, that is Tigris and Euphrates. Okay, so now idea over here is that why these civilizations are there on the river banks. Okay, simple reason, availability of water. Okay, over the time we realized that we could go for the agriculture, and for agriculture we would require water. Okay, so that was the area. Second thing is, when we talk about these riverbed areas, these are fertile lands. Okay, there are various soil sediments which are carried along with the river and they are settling along the banks. Okay, because of which these areas are quite fertile in nature. Okay, so that is why agriculture was easy, forest resources were there, and that is why these civilizations were you can say started to develop over these particular areas. Okay, now let's move further and look at the our constitution part. Part 5 we were discussing and we were on the union government. This is a bit lengthier chapter when we talk about, and this is the chapter from which maximum questions are also asked, because when we consider parliament is also part of this only. Okay, now sorry, I'm not feeling well. So anyway, Article 110, we have seen Article 109 yesterday, which was talking about the procedure with respect to the money bill. Okay, when we talk about Article 110, this is talking about the definition of money bills. Okay, you know that there are various type of finance bills and financial bills. These are basically, money bill is one among them, and Article 110 is talking about the definition, and Article 109 is talking about the procedure with respect to money bill. Okay, we have seen the procedure, like how it will start from the Lok Sabha, then it moves to Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha has to give its opinion in 14 days. If they don't, then it is deemed to be passed by Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha does not have much power with respect to that. All these things we have discussed, and further, after passing from the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, it will be going to the, you can say, president, and president has to give the assent. Okay, there is no option for the reconsideration. Moving further, Article 112, that is annual financial statement or annual financial, I would correct it, that is statement, and this is actually known as budget. This term budget is not being used in the constitution. The constitution talks about the annual financial statement, and that is basically your budget. Okay, so that is given in the Article 112, and then Article 114, that is appropriation bill. When we talk about the budget, budget is talking about how much money government will need for the, you can say, future endeavors. So basically, to require or to get out that money from the consolidated fund, you need a appropriation bill that parliament has to approve that this much amount of money can be withdrawn from the consolidated fund of India. So that bill is basically your appropriation bill. Okay, so after budget you will see that to get that particular money, this bill has to be passed. Okay, now coming to the Article 110, we will be seeing the definition. Okay, a bill considered as a money bill if it deals with exclusively with the following matters: imposition, abolition, remission, alteration or regulation of taxes, borrowing of money or repayment of debt by the states, custody of consolidated fund of India or the contingency fund of India. You know that contingency fund, it is a fund under the president's, or you can say for the disposal of president. Okay, so that is there. Expenditure from the consolidated fund of India, any matter incidental to the above topics. Okay, so any matter which is incidental to the above topics. Here they are saying that it should be exclusively within these topics, but again here they are giving you a loophole wherein you can use other topics under the money bill. Okay, so any matter incidental to above topics. Then moving further, certification, as I told you that speaker will be the person who will certify a bill as a money bill. Okay, so that is the special power of speaker. Moving further, when we are talking about the annual financial statement, as I told you, the president shall at the beginning of the each financial year lay before the parliament a statement of estimated receipts and expenditure of the government of India for that year, in this part referred to as annual financial statement. Okay, so this term annual financial statement is the term which is used for the budget in the constitution. Okay, again I am telling you, this term budget is not being used anywhere in the constitution. Don't get confused. That mention of Article 112 is about budget. It is about annual financial statement. In that annual financial statement, all the expenditure and the receipt will be considered for that particular year. Okay, other than that also we have fiscal management act, etc. So they are requiring other documents to be presented along with the budget. That is altogether a different story. Second clause of same article, that is 112, says that the annual financial statement shows separately in respect of the following matter the estimate of the expenditure proposed to be made from the consolidated fund of India, namely the annual expenditure for the government of India. First thing. Second is expenditure charged on the consolidated fund. When we talk about the expenditure charged on the consolidated fund of India, that means that no voting is required. On that no voting is required, but other expenditures, when we talk about the expenditure, you can say taken out from the consolidated fund of India, for that voting will be required. Okay, for that appropriation bill will be there. The expenditure from the consolidated fund of India, for this particular element you will have a voting in the parliament. Okay, which is not charged on the consolidated fund of India. Okay, so these are the type of expenditures which will be taken or which will be talked about in the budget. Okay, the annual financial statement shall include the details of the receipt of the government of India, including the revenues and the other sources. We have seen that these are the expenditure they are talking about, these are the receipts they will be talking about. For that there can be capital receipts and the revenue receipts. Okay, capital receipts are the, you can say, something which is coming in a, you can say, way of long term investment, which is giving you dividend. That is something like capital receipts, and revenue receipt is, these are the day to day receipts which government is receiving. Okay, So this is about the budget, or when we are talking about the annual financial statement, this is all which has been written in your constitution. Other than that, we have convention. Other than that, we have the fiscal management act, or other than that also there are certain documents which are also being presented along with the budget. Now when we discuss these topics over here, the idea over here is that you will go and revise this particular topic. In this way you will, it will hardly take 10 to 15 minutes for you to revise the whole topic, but you will have this something which is set in your routine that you will be following these guidelines. Okay, anyways, now we will be moving further and starting with the first article, that is talking about the GST Council defers call on health insurance and asked a group of ministers to submit reports. Okay, so basically when we are talking about the GST Council, you know that there is a body after, you can say, GST which was introduced. There was this body of you can say all the finance minister. When we are talking about the GST Council, it will be chaired by the financial minister, and then there are representatives also from the states as well, that is basically ministers. Okay, now these ministers will decide on the GST and their tax brackets, etc. For that we have GST Council. Okay, these council meets time to time and then they decide on the different brackets, different policy with respect to GST. Recently they had another meeting and there are certain outcomes which are there. Specifically they are talking about certain things like health insurance, they are talking about the rate increase in the rates, etc. So that is there, we will be talking about that. Just see the first paragraph over here. The Goods and Service Tax Council in its 54th meet held Monday broadly converged on the need to reduce GST on the health and the life insurance premiums from 18%, but referred the proposal to the group of ministers for the further discussion. Okay, now they have, like in parliament we have committees like that also. After this in this particular, you can say, GST Council, they have the group of ministers and then this particular proposal has been referred to them. Now they will decide on that. We will see what are the questions they have to decide. Okay, now here you can say recently GST Council meeting was held, then there was important things which were discussed. Now we will be seeing what is discussed over here. Okay, reconsideration of the 18% GST on the insurance policies. When we are talking about the health insurance and the life insurance, they have considered that this insurance you can say, or the tax on the insurance, GST on the insurance should be reduced, and how much, or you can say by how much percentage it should be reduced, that is on the group of ministers to decide. So now there will be a new group of ministers set up to review the 18% GST imposed on the health and life insurances. Deadline of 50 days has been given to submit the report. Okay, so within 15 days they will submit the report that from 18% to how much, or you can say to what percent they will be charging the health insurance. Maybe it can be 12%, okay, or even lesser than that. Okay, anyway, key points of the review, what they will go and what they will review under this particular group of ministers. So whether GST rates on the insurance policy should be reduced or removed completely. So either to be reduced or to remove completely, that is one thing they can actually look into. Second is who should get the exemptions. Now if we are going for the removal of removal for this and for the certain parties, then who will be getting the benefits of that particular exemption, or other than that also if they are reducing it, so for whom you are reducing it. Okay, so they will be deciding the beneficiaries as well. Okay, so that is another thing, how group insurance policies should be treated. Then next is the GST Council to meet in person to decide on the group of minister recommendation. Once these recommendations are there, then GST Council will again meet and decide on this particular matter. Okay, now expansion of the ministerial group on GST rate rationalization. Okay, so basically when we are talking about the GST rate rationalization, that is basically nothing but the brackets of the GST. Okay, so what kind of product will be where in which bracket, how many brackets will be there. Okay, so considering that there is another, you can say, group of GST rates, when ministerial group is there, now they are trying to change it. Okay, because that group was made 3 years back. Okay, now they are trying to add new members in that particular group as well. Okay, so that is nothing much too important, nothing important for us right now. Coming to the next one, that is GST compensation cess extension. Sorry, GST compensation cess extensions. Okay, Now, when we are talking about these cess which has been given by the central government to the states, there are various states who had this apprehension that their income or their revenue might be decreased because of the introduction of GST back then. So, basically for that they have actually introduced this idea that whatever revenue or whatever fear they are having with respect to the revenues, that can be addressed through the cess. Cess is nothing but a particularly, you can say, a particular kind of tax which is imposed for a particular purpose. Okay. So, on a particular kind of product, that cess was introduced. Okay, here you will be seeing new ministerial group to consider GST compensation cess. So on that particular cess, because it has been lot time now when we are talking about the introduction of GST back in 2016-17 at that point of time. Now it has been nearly, you can say, 7 to 8 years. So it is time that they will be looking into it again. Okay. Originally introduced GST compensation cess to compensate for the state's revenue loss, and after GST implementation, that is the or you can say the reason behind the introduction of the GST cess. Okay. So again I am telling you, GST compensation cess was introduced because the states, after shifting to the GST regime, they had these apprehensions that their revenue might decrease. Okay, because the share has been decided between state center and the state. So considering that center has given them this particular option to go for the compensation cess, wherein they can actually target certain products on which they can collect particular type of tax, and that targeted tax is basically called as cess. Okay. So products are tobacco products, beverages, motor vehicles and coals, etc. Okay. Now they will be reviewing it again. Moving further, current status, if we talk about, cess extended till March 2026 to repay loans taken during the pandemic. Now this was extended because it was to be removed earlier, but then there was COVID, and because of the COVID there was various economical crisis which was there in the state and their revenue, and that is why to repay all those loans, so this cess was actually extended till 2026. Now, ministerial group will explore whether the cess should continue after 2026 or not. So there will also be a group of minister with respect to this particular cess. Okay. Now moving further, GST rate hikes. Okay. Cancer medicines. So there are these rates which has been increased for certain you can say commodities. Here when we are talking about the cancer medicines, GST on 3 medicines reduced from 12% to 5%. Okay. So that is, you can say, there was certain product on which the rate has been decreased. Now car seat covers increased from 18% to 28%. So in this particular arena you can see that is a increase. Okay. Now you can look into the logic over here, because it is medicine. This is something which is required for the you can say middle class also, and cancer medicines are not very, you can say, affordable. So that is why they have reduced the GST rate on that. When we are talking about the car seat covers, this is kind of a luxury, and here you can say that tax has been increased over here. Then moving further, GST reduction on the spicy snacks reduced from 18% to 12%. And coming to the next one, value of land in real estate transactions. So when we are talking about the value of land in the real estate transaction, and when we see that how GST will be imposed, okay, so till now what is happening is that the 1/3 of the value of the construction service is considered as the cost of the land. Okay, now there will be a group of ministers who will decide that whether we will also consider the area in which the land is present. Okay, because let's say 1/3 of the construction cost if we consider. Okay, so construction material are almost available at the same rate at every area, but let's consider a place in Delhi, let's say a Karol Bagh or Old Rajendra Nagar, wherein you are constructing a building, and then you are constructing a building somewhere on the outskirts of the Delhi. Okay, material is coming from the same you can say distributor, so the cost of the material is same, but the thing is the area where this particular building is there, the market rates of that particular land will be differentiated, or you can say there will be a difference between these market rates over there. So that is why now they will be look into the idea wherein they can, whether they can charge the cost of the land as with respect to the market rates or the area in which that particular land is located. Okay. So till now what is happening is the 1/3 of the construction cost is considered as for the tax purposes, but the thing is they are looking into the other options as well, wherein the market rate will also have a sway in the deciding the land you can say rate of the land. Moving further, university relief, there are certain exemption which has been given in the, whether there are certain kind of research which are going on. So here you can see GST exemption on the research funds received by the state affiliated universities and other recognized institutions. These exemptions apply to both public as well as private sector, but there is a condition that these funds are somehow coming, or either the institution is related to the state or the funds are also coming to from the state. Okay, so here you will see except from the institutional states or the central government be affiliated or receive an income exemptions. Okay, so there are these things which are there with respect to the GST Council's measures which has been taken. Most of them are not very, very much important for you to remember or mug up. Okay, these are certain things which you have to understand, that why we are talking about the life insurance policies, why we are talking about the exemptions, why we are talking about expansion of the, you can say, the ministerial group on the rationalization, because it is it was made 3 years back. Then when we are talking about this cess or the compensation cess, why they are reassessing it now. Okay, so all these things are something which are logical, because it was there till 2026. Now since it is about to end, then they will be looking into whether we have to extend it or not. Okay, so these are certain things which we have already discussed. Now we will be moving to the next article. Okay, so critically endangered elongated tortoise spotted in Aravallis for the first time. Okay, now this particular tortoise, which is critically endangered, one thing. Second thing is it is elongated, and there are certain specific features. If you look at this particular picture, you will find that there are certain black patches which are present on the you can say this particular skull over here. And then when we talk about the you can say nose of this particular tortoise, you will be finding that there are certain pink rings which are there. And when we talk about the you can say when we talk about the eyes etc. also, so they will also develop a pink rings around the eyes in a particular season. Okay, so these are certain distinctive features about this tortoise, and they are these particular tortoise was found recently in the Aravallis, which is not a habitable area for them. Okay, now the thing is, mostly when you are talking about this particular tortoise, they will be finding in the Himalayan range, Himalayan foothills, and then the, you can say, eastern side of the, you can say, India. But in Rajasthan near Aravallis, that is not very much you can say, or it is a rare occurrence which has happened. And you can say authorities are also saying that that might be because of the trades. Okay, you know that there are illegal trades activities with respect to the exotic elements which is going on, so which is illegal, but though it is going on, so because of these particular things also, that might be this particular presence might be there as well. Okay, so let's talk about that elongated tortoise, that is Indote studo elongata, that is the scientific name. If you can remember, please do, otherwise it's okay. Then because most of the time we have seen that UPSC is not much concerned about the scientific names, they will be talking about the common names. Okay, because in the you can say when we are talking about the syllabus also, it is written the general expertise should be there, not specialism, or you can say they are not asking specific things about that. Okay, anyways, elongated tortoise, which is there, a critically endangered species. Okay, and it is found or spotted in the Haryana's Damdama area. Okay, when we are talking about this particular area, Haryana's Damdama area, that is there in Aravallis. Okay, the extension of Aravalli, when we are talking about from the, you can say, north sides of Gujarat till it is there in Delhi. Okay, this Raisina hills, when we talk about, that is basically extension of Aravallis only. Okay, now tortoise is medium sized with a yellowish brown olive you can say shell. When we talk about this particular shell, this is either yellowish brown or it will be having a olive color. Okay, on which there will be this black blotches will be there. Okay, so that is another thing. Then talking about the next part, here on the nostril, you will be seeing a pink ring over there, and that ring can also be there around the eyes. Okay, so these are certain specific features with respect to this tortoise. Moving further, when we talk about the area of their habitat, that is basically sal, deciduous and hilly evergreen forest, which are mostly found on the, you can say, foothills of the Himalayas. This is found across the Southeast Asia, from the northern India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh in the west, eastward through Myanmar, Thailand and all of the Indochina, north to Gongsi province of the China, and south to the peninsular Malaysia. So this is the area which is there. It is found, specifically speaking, the eastern part of, you can say, India, northeastern and eastern part of India, and then to the Thailand, Bangladesh and the China, or these are the countries where it is found. Okay, moving further, it is also found in the Chota Nagpur plateau region. Okay, and the lowlands and the foothills up to 1000 meters from the sea level. Now when we are talking about the presence in the Aravalli, that is not very, you can say, easily found over here, that is a rare occurrence, but the tortoise is found in the foothills of the Himalayas. Generally it is found in the foothills of the Himalayas. It inhabits the wetter areas, and discovering it here is an aberration than a norm. Okay, so it is not a norm, it is just an exception that he was found over there, and it cannot be ruled out that the tortoise was bought by trade. Okay, so that is one thing which experts are talking about. Okay, so this is not native to Aravallis, so please remember that. If they talk about the where it was spotted, so yes, it is spotted in Aravallis, but it is not native to Aravallis. Okay, it is native to Himalayan foothills. Now moving further to the next article, which is talking about Sakthan Thampuran. Okay, so this particular personality is considered as the, you can say, architect of the Thrissur. Thrissur is a place in south, you can say, India, and then you will be find out that is a place where various temple and various architectures has developed over the time. Okay, now talking about certain things of this particular person, here you will be seeing Minister of State for Tourism and the Thrissur MP Suresh Gopi on Saturday pledged to replace a statue of Sakthan Thampuran, who which was knocked over by the transport bus, state transfer bus. This particular statue was knocked over, and they have said that if the government is not doing in a particular time, they will be doing it, okay, within the 14 days. Now when we are talking about Sakthan Thampuran, the Raja Rama Varma Kunji Pillai or Rama Varma 9, okay, better known as the Sakthan Thampuran. Now here you can say there is this thing. When we talk about the names in you can say South India, these names are having, you can say, big titles. So sometimes you might find it difficult to, you can say, remember, but some prominent personalities are there which you have to remember. There is no, no escaping that. So Raja Rama Varma Kunji Pallai or Rama Varma 9. Okay, he is better known as Sakthan Thampuran. Okay, so he ruled over the Cochin area. Okay, so Cochin Kingdom from 1790s to 1805. Okay, he was born in 1751 to Ambika Thampuram and the Chendose Ayyan Nambudiri. Okay, so when we are talking about this particular person, these are the name of the parents. Okay, if you can remember, well and good, otherwise they won't ask you. So please just remember the name of the person, Raja Rama Varma Kunji Pillai. Okay, so that is there. Now he was there in the Cochin royal family, okay, and he was raised by an aunt, okay, and she gave the name Sakthan to him. Okay, so that is there. Moving further, this name, that is Sakthan, that is you can say the meaning of this particular name is powerful. Okay, then the word Thampuram is believed to be an appropriation for the Sanskrit word, that is Samrat. Okay, so basically powerful Samrat is the, you can say, meaning of this particular word, that is Sakthan Thampuram. Okay, and the thing is they can ask you the meaning, so please remember that. Now moving further, the Cochin Kingdom was part of the late Chera empires. You know that we have Chola, Chera, Pandyas. Okay, so then when we are talking about the Chera empire, it was the part of Chera empire back then. Okay, so later Cheras had this particular area under their control. Okay, and then covered the region between Punnani in Malapuram and Thotapalli in Alapuha. Okay, so these are the region where it particular area was located. For our understanding, you can remember that somewhere in Kerala, and then we are specifically talking about the Thrissur over here. Now he is a good strategist and the ruler. Here you can say Sakthan Thampuram became heir apparent in 1769 at the age of 18 years old. And he was advised the king to maintain friendly relation with the both Dutches and the English people. Now he was a person who has the great mind with respect to economy and trade. He knew that these people are here for the trade, so he made sure that both of them, the Dutches and the English, we should have a better relation with them, so that the trade in that particular area will flourish. Okay, so that is important thing which you can remember, that he had that kind of you can say advice which he has made to the king. Okay, moving further, he has orchestrated Mysore's attempt to invade the Travancore kingdom and establish relation with the English East India Company. Now Mysore and Travancore, when they were fighting with each other, at that point of time he has actually made better relations with the English people to protect their own interest. Okay, so that was there. Then there was this Pawnee Treaty which was signed between them, and they have actually freed the Cochin kingdom from the you can say allegiance of the Mysore. Earlier this particular kingdom was somehow it was affiliated with the Mysore, and then it was actually removed from that particular allegiance. Now it has helped formalize the relations with the Britishers. So you can say that here the relations between Thampuran and the Britishers are better. Now moving further, put an end to the institution of the Yogi Atri Padas. Okay, Yogi Atiri Pradas, these are the, you can say, spiritual heads which were there in the institutions, okay, of the Vadakumanatham and the Perumanam. Okay, so these are the temples where these spiritual heads were there, and he has abolished these titles or institution of these particular heads over there. Okay, and conspired against the previous Cochin king in his wars against the Calicut Zamorian. Okay, so he has fought wars with the Zamorian as well. This is the Zamorian who has actually, you know, that when we talk about the advent of you can say European in India, at that point of time we say that Vasco da Gama was actually you can say welcomed by the Zamorian over there. Okay, so Zamorians are nothing but the king in that particular area. Okay, so that is there, and he has entrusted temple management to the government. Okay, he has taken these he has actually abolished the institutions of the you can say these priests which were there, or you can say spiritual heads, and then management was given to the government. Okay, a fearsome reputation for himself, and is said to have largely freed his kingdom from crime. Okay, so that is certain things. Now when we are talking about the Thrissur and Puram, okay, here you will be seeing the seat of the Cochin kingdom from Tripunithura to, you can say, modern days Thrissur. Okay, so he has changed the seat to Thrissur, and then he started developing the Thrissur. Now from this whole article, what is important for us is that one thing, that is the name of the person, that is Raja Rama Varma Kunjipallai, that is one thing. Second thing is that he was the modern architecture of the Thrissur, and where Thrissur is located. All these things are important. Other than that, if you go into the modern history, there are not various reference of this particular person, so that is why you don't have to remember that he has had a war with the Calicut, Zamorian, etc. So these are there for your own, you can say, knowledge. If you want to remember, it's okay, otherwise not important per se. Okay, now he has actually gone for the architectural activities in the Cochin. Okay, the seat of the Cochin kingdom was said to be in the Thrissur. City's elaborated road system was there, infrastructure was there, that has increased encouraged the merchants of all religion, British officials to relocate to the city. Okay, since he has changed the seat of the, you can say, kingdom, and he has made sure there is this infrastructure, road system, etc. So all the traders were actually incentivized to come to this particular area, and because of which trade actually flourished in this particular region. Okay, so, and he was interested in the kingdom's finances himself, so that is one of the reason for the, you can say, better economic activities over there. So that is about, you can say, Sakthan Thampuram. Okay, now we can move further to the next article, which is talking about China announces naval air drills with Russia this month. Okay, now China and Russia are getting closer, so that is one thing which we have seen for over a long time. Now China's defense ministry on Monday announces a joint naval and air drills with Russia starting this month, underscoring the closeness between the militaries as Russia presses its grinding invasion in Ukraine. Now when we talk about the Ukraine war, we know that China has never actually said something about the Ukrainian war. Actually they have somehow supported the war efforts. Okay, second thing is, when we are talking about China, China has actually not directly helped in arms and ammunition, but China has actually gone for the enhancement in the economic ties, or you can say the trade has increased, because of which Russia has got a currency. When we are talking about the foreign currency, forex reserve, so somehow China is helping in that arena. Okay, when we talk about India, India is also buying oil, etc. from Russia, that is there, but China and Russia are coming closely, but we don't have to be very much concerned, but because when we talk about these two giants, so these are having their own interest. Okay, there is this term frenemies. Okay, so this particular term I have discussed earlier as well, friends plus enemies, that is frenemies. Okay, so when we are talking about the interest in the you can say Asia, so they have the different interest in Asia, because Russia will never want that to lose, or you can say to give away the position which Russia has in Asia, and China would want to be a power in Asia. Okay, so that is one thing. So there you can say that there is a clash of interest. But when we talk about the Russia and China against the West, okay, so their interests are aligning, and that is why in certain areas they are friends, in certain areas there might be, you can say, some kind of enmity which is not visible, but that is there, because you know every country has their own interest. But recently when we are talking about the recent environment wherein they are countering the West, okay, and West is countering them, in that case it is imperative for them to come together. Now where this particular exercise will happen, that will happen in the Sea of Japan, and you know that there is this Sea of Okhotsk. Okay, so Okhotsk. So yeah, these are the two areas where this exercise will happen. So please remember that. Right now till you can say the particular specifics of this particular exercise are not known, but this is about to happen. Okay. Now the name of the exercise is Northern United 2024 exercise. It is to take place in the Sea of Japan and Sea of Okhotsk further north, and gave no details yet. Okay. And this will be a naval as well as air drill. Okay. Other than that, what I have told you just recently, that is written over here, while China has not directly provided Russia with arms, it has become a crucial economic lifeline as the top customer of the Russian oil and gas, as well as supplier of the electronics and the items with respect to both civilian and the military uses. Okay. So I hope that is clear. Moving further to the next part, that is talking about the nuclear to LNG, India and UAE in 4 pact. Okay, you must have heard recently that you can say Crown Prince has visited India, and there was various agreement which has been signed. There are 4 prominent which has been signed recently. So if whether there is a question on the, you can say, cooperation between India and UAE, you can mention these 4 agreements. Okay, India and UAE signed 4 pacts to expand energy cooperation. Crown Prince has visited India. A long-term LNG supply between Abu Dhabi National Oil Company and Indian Oil Corporation, between ADNOC and Indian Strategic Petroleum Reserve Limited. Okay, so these are the 2 with respect to the oil and gas which is there. Then Emirates Nuclear Energy Company ENEC and the Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, they have also inked the MOU, okay, on the operation and the maintenance of the Barak nuclear power plant. Okay, so that is third one, because we have seen the first is between the ADNOC and the Indian Oil Corporation, and then second is ADNOC plus ISPRL, third is your ENEC plus Nuclear Power Corporation in India, and fourth one over here is that with respect to the production concession agreement for Abu Dhabi onshore block 1 between Urja Bharat and ADNOC. Okay, so there is a block where we are trying to go for the exploration, and they have given us certain concessions. Okay, so these are there. Other than that, Gujarat government and Abu Dhabi has signed another pact separately, that is related to developmental holding companies. When we are talking about the Abu Dhabi Development Holding Company, and they and the state of Gujarat, okay, they have gone for the, you can say, tying up for the food parks in the India. Okay, so that is there. So these are the, you can say, 4 pacts which has been signed. Other than that, Gujarat has gone for another different partnership with them. And when we are talking about the this particular meeting, there are various national and international importance issues has been discussed between the, you can say, Crown Prince and the Prime Minister. So that is about this particular article. Okay, moving further. After Singapore, US ties up with India to boost semiconductor sector. So we have seen that Prime Minister has visited Singapore and Brunei recently, and in Singapore they have signed you can say agreement with respect to the semiconductors. Okay, India is trying to be part of the crucial global supply chain with respect to the semiconductors, and after Singapore, now USA is also keen to have interest in India. They have also announced a partnership with respect to, you can say, semiconductors. You know that Prime Minister's visit will be there from 21st to 24th of September, and just before that they have actually announced that they will be going for the partnership in the, you can say, semiconductor sector, and because both interests are there. Right now China and the Taiwan are the leading you can say forces with respect to semiconductors and the chips. Okay, recently they have announced a new partnership with India to explore semiconductor supply chain opportunities, which will include a comprehensive assessment of India's existing semiconductor ecosystem, regulatory frameworks, workforce and infrastructure needs. Okay, that will serve as the basis for potential future joint initiatives to strengthen and grow this critical sector. Okay, so that is one thing. India signed a semiconductor ecosystem partnership with Singapore recently with the PM Modi's visit, which we have already seen. 21 to 24, you can say there is a Quad summit which will be, you can say, attended by the Prime Minister, and that point of time there will be a talks with USA's counterparts. Okay, the US Department of State will partner with India Semiconductor Mission. We have National Semiconductor Mission, so they will partner with that. There is to explore the opportunity to grow and diversify the global semiconductor ecosystem under the International Technology Security and Innovation Fund. That fund is being created by the CHIPS Act of 2022. That act was there in USA. With respect to that act, they have actually come up with the International Technology Security and Innovation Fund, and from that particular fund there might be, you can say, chances that we will also get certain amount of, you can say, aid in from that particular fund with respect to the semiconductor mission. This partnership will help create a more resilient and the secure and sustainable global semiconductor value chain. Okay, so that is the idea behind it, to make sure that there is a resilient value chain, because at the time of COVID we have realized that when China is not you can say there to, you know, provide for the exports, etc., so there are gaps in the global supply chain. Okay, so to avoid such things in the future, we have come up with this particular idea. Now, last part for you is that for your own read, there is this article, why Apex Court intervened in the Himachal Pradesh collegium decision. Okay, so there was this when we talk about High Court's collegium, you know that it is you can say composition is Chief Justice of the High Court plus 2. Okay, now these people will be having a consultation, and then they will send the name to the Law Ministry with respect to the, you can say, appointment of a particular judge, and then these laws, these names will be given to the Supreme Court collegium. You know that in Supreme Court we have collegium, that is CJI plus 4, and that collegium in that case of Himachal Pradesh actually asked the state to reconsider it. Okay, when the name was sent back for the reconsideration, what state did was they changed the name. Now, when they changed the name, the two person who were there earlier in the list, they actually approached the court, and now court will decide on the matter. Again, the collegium we have already discussed, and if you have not you know, read about it, so you can go and watch the polity this week. When we talk about you know, important news articles or the important development with respect to polity, we cover all of them in a one video in the end of the week. Okay, so you can go and watch this video. In that we have discussed the collegium as well. We have discussed how collegium came into picture. There was first judge case, second judge case, third judge case. So after the, you can say, a combined reading of the second judge and the third judge case, we can say that that is basically how collegium has came into picture. So you can read through this article, or otherwise you can watch that particular video. Okay, now last your question for your practice: which landmark cases established and clarified the collegium system for the appointing judges? First and second judge case, second and third judge case, third and fourth judge case, and the second and fourth judge case. Okay, so you can attempt this question and answer to me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. If you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Have a nice day. Thank you.